Hello guys, usual another video from my car. As every Saturday I publish here on YouTube channel about dev career. And today I want to talk about number one problem that I see when delivering successful projects and number one skill in my opinion that most developers don't have. So that number one problem is lack of time to deliver the quality result. So developers are often complaining about not having time to, for example, write automated tests or refactor something or finish the feature properly because they are always in a rush of so-called feature factory. So clients or managers demand new features quicker. They need to release more and more features to compete on the market as a product, and that is all fine, but then poor developers are struggling and stressed out to deliver more and more stuff. But the problem is not even lack of time. The problem, in my opinion, starts earlier, and that is your problem as a developer because you agree to those terms. At some point, someone makes the estimates and promises something to the client. It may be manager, it may be yourself, it may be someone else above you that promised to deliver the full project in a month, for example. Sometimes you misestimate as a developer, that is totally fine. But at the end of the day, you agree to those terms. So if you agree to deliver that project in a month, ultimately it becomes your problem. And this is where I come to the skill that most developers don't have, is the skill of negotiation. Because negotiation is not a developer core skill, right? So it's not a tech skill, it's not a coding skill, it's more like soft skill, people skill, psychology skill, communication skill, and stuff like that. But without that skill, you will suffer as a developer. At some point, you need to learn to say no to the managers, to teammates, to clients in a polite way. You don't say that we cannot deliver the project. You just explain that if we rush on features, then we compromise on quality, which will make you suffer in the long run later. So if you try to picture that scenario to the client or to the manager, what would happen if you rush, if you continue working on so-called feature factory, then they would imagine that scenario in the future in their mind, and then they would be able to maybe change your decision, change their decision, and change the timeline, change the deadline, maybe compromise on some features. So another way of asking from your side would be, do we need all those features in all those options with exactly that scope? Can we compromise on something, deliver 80 or 90% of something? But you need to raise that point before you start coding. When it's all set in stone, so to speak, when like the papers are signed and the promises are made, then ultimately it becomes your fault that you didn't negotiate. Now, I know it sounds easy to do. In reality, it's really hard to go to your manager or teammate or client and tell that you cannot deliver something. Of course, it's a psychological problem for yourself even to admit that you are not capable of doing something. So that's level one. And then level two, then you are in conflict. So you go and kind of start a mini conflict, which then may cause a bigger conflict. Maybe they will start disliking you. Perhaps you may even lose your job. But think about it. If you are in a constant stress to deliver something at that job, at that position, do you really need that job? Probably you should start looking elsewhere, passively or actively, if you are in a constant stress of delivering on a tight deadline. And in general, in any company, there should be a friendly atmosphere, so your manager should listen to your opinion on whatever level you are, junior, senior, developer, or whatever. It should be a communication style of listening to each other. And if you raise some problem, it should not be a person problem and they should not attack you personally. So generally, I advise you to read some books or materials about negotiation, about communication with your managers, because in the long run in your career, it will massively help you on top of your coding skills. Do you agree? And do you have any stories, like your personal stories, where you negotiated successfully, or maybe not so successfully, some scope or deadline or budget for your team or for yourself? Shoot in the comments and see you guys in other videos.